Hi, Daniel.
Adam, hi.
Dan James, Joe Rodon, Max Vuber were the three we discussed a little bit post-match at the weekend. Are you feeling that all three may be involved tomorrow night?
Daniel James and Joe Rodon will be available. They are back in training since yesterday. It was also a bit precaution not to risk him in this game. So if nothing major happens, then they are definitely back available also for this game. Sad and bad news, sadly, was Max Vuber. So he has this ongoing knee problem, another setback. He will need another surgery. We'll do this as quick as possible, and he will definitely be out till the next international break. So we expect him just to be available then more or less after the next international break, because during this week already we'll have this surgery, and then he's out for around 6 weeks. So again, I think till the end of March he's not available for us.
And Patrick Bamford, you said, would be looking at coming into team training this week. Is that still the case?
Yeah, not yet, because obviously then tomorrow the game, we are focus on it, and then depends right now how the next days will develop. So he was not back in team training yet. Will not return then before this Watford game, and then we'll see what happens in the next days.
Dan, with so many changes at the weekend, I'm just wondering, what can you take out of that game against Millwall that can help you with this game tomorrow night?
Yes, I wouldn't interpret too much into this game, because obviously it was a much changed side and was a different competition. So it's more like the last league games were quite important. Also, like, we want to take the confidence, also our defensive behavior, and also our good solutions and possession into the next game, and try to bring this again on the pitch. And there were still also a few positives in the cup game. So first debut for Sam Chambers. So we won't rush it with him. So you could also see that he has to learn a little bit, but there were also some promising signs. I also think that Isaac Schmidt was also there with a quite solid performance. Gives him also another confidence boost. I could also be that he is back in the game day squad, because I quite liked what he has offered. Yes, overall, I wouldn't interpret too much into this cup game, because it was a bit like a special and a unique game. I think it was also important to give some players a rest during this busy schedule. I hope then also some players who didn't have that many minutes on the pitch are also a bit more recharged and recovered. So it's a bit tricky, because you can't really train proper with the team, because obviously we were also focused on this Millwall game, but a little rest for a few players was hopefully also beneficial in order to be fresh and ready to go again.
Sam James was interesting. I know you talked about him post-match on Saturday, but he's a very different-looking winger to what you've got already at the club, isn't he? Do you see him as that's his position on that right side coming in? Or do you think he's more adaptable than that?
Yes, he has also played in a more central role, but especially for a young player, sometimes it's also a bit easier to come into the first team a bit more on the wing, instead of being straight away in the heart of the game and fully under pressure. Also needs to work on his physical skills, on his fitness level a bit more, because obviously in the center you naturally have to run a bit more, and for that I think for his early stages in his Leeds United career, it makes sense also to bring him on this position into the team. And he has also the skill to create end products. He's a good finisher. Has also good dynamic and intensity also with his runs. This is also what he brings into the game. Of course, he has to learn also a lot against the ball, tactical behavior. We're working with him on this. And again, he is still more or less growing and developing. So we'll have to be a bit careful. But it was also not a gift. So we like him a lot. It was not a gift that he was in the starting lineup, and hopefully it will give him also new boost in terms of to work hard further on and to develop further on.
And I suppose at the weekend, I know you had your own cup game, but Watford did play. I mean, how much of a favour do you feel that was, that they didn't have a free weekend coming into this game?
Sometimes it's also good to stay a bit in the rhythm. So it depends always a bit on the schedule. I think this turn like I mentioned before, so it's more like this turn from Saturday till Tuesday evening is not too bad, because you have 3 proper nights. If you don't have an evening kickoff like we had on Wednesday night, and then you have a long travel and you're just back home in the early hours of Thursday morning, because then you're missing more or less a proper night's sleep already. And then the earliest possible kickoff then on the Saturday. This was a bit tricky. I think, between the games Saturday afternoon till Tuesday evening, there's enough time to recover, even if you would have played 90 minutes anyhow. So more than 72 hours are definitely enough in order to be fully recovered for a professional athlete. And there was good performance, a pretty impressive performance. We're pretty close also to be the first team to win at Sunderland. The only team was a bit closer was us, if I'm honest. But apart from this, so it says a lot about their quality. And of course, they also want to finish in the top 6. They are a physical side, a pretty robust side. They have many experienced players. Dropped a little bit out of the top 6 in the last weeks due to the fact that some of their key players are or were not available. You always have different periods during a long championship season, but nevertheless, for me, they're one of the best sides. Especially their home record was quite impressive. Perhaps not in the last weeks, because they had the situation that several key players were and are not available. But especially at home, they are really a threat, and they play with intensity and very physical. They were really, really difficult to beat, especially in the first half of the season. And for that, we will also travel with respect and know another tough away game. But we also have proven that even at tough places we can be competitive. And if we are on the best of our game, we have also a chance to win points.
Hi Daniel, what does the data say this season about how you're getting on with injuries, soft tissue injuries, compared with last season? I know it's a different squad, but how do you feel you're doing as a club?
Overall pretty good, because normally, especially during this period, winter period, November, December, January, February, you are struggling when the load is that high with many muscle injuries. So this is more or less, apart from Patrick's injury, not the case at all. Also with Max, it was more or less like after a knock and knee injury. This is sometimes also what you have to accept sometimes. But pretty happy also like how our staff, our medical department works. In all areas, so everything is important. We spoke about how important nutrition is, how important, also like to monitor our sports science, the training is, but especially credit to the players, because they have to behave in a professional way. And don't want to curse it too much, but so far so good, and hopefully also like the final stage of the season will be quite similar. So especially in terms of muscle injuries, we are in a pretty good place at the moment, and hopefully this continues as well.
And how did Pascal come through? Obviously the first start for him since his problem. How's he doing?
Yes, I think it was important for him to have the first 90 minutes under his belt, also against a pretty competitive side. So Millwall is exactly the type of intensity and quality we face also in the league. I think for him it was quite important to have this 90 minutes after being out for several weeks under his belt. Will be important also for finding the confidence back into his body. Of course, he would have preferred to score the penalty and also to have a better outcome in terms of result. But on an individual level, I think for his fitness level and to come back into his rhythm, it was important for him.
Hi, Daniel. Obviously 15 games away from the end of the season now, and I know it's been a very busy schedule. I know we've spoken about this topic before, but since then, have you had any talks with Junior or Joshua or Sam about contract renewals at all? Or if not, do you have a date in mind when you plan to?
No, we're playing at the moment more or less all 3 days, and for that there is no time to be distracted by contract talks or whatever. For Josh, also like we've signed him pretty late. Was clear like about the period, and for him it's more like, come on, concentrate on delivering each and every day. And he knows how much we rate him, and we'll speak about this topic when there is a bit more time to do it. And the same with Junior. So he had a really good start into the season, then a tricky period with suspensions and injuries, and then during this time, it's not like you embarrass him when he's a bit like finding his rhythm back and distract him in with some talks about the contract. You do this when the player is back in his shape and back in a good rhythm, and there's also time to do this, because at the moment there is no time to waste any energy to think about individuals or what happens in whatever 6 months or whatever. It's just important what happens in the next 6 hours and the next days. And when there is a bit more time to do this, we will do this. So the players know that we are pretty trustful partner as a club, and we trust them, and we're also there for them and perhaps also difficult moments during their career and difficult periods, and they know that they can trust us, and we'll have some proper conversations when it's time to do this. But during such a crazy schedule right now, it's not the right moment.
Yes, and just want to get your reaction to the Portsmouth game being rescheduled. Now, I know your players are used to a tight schedule, but it does mean you have 3 games in 7 days rather than 8. Does that loss of an extra day impact your preparations, and also as well the fan impact that the fixture change has for them?
Yes, of course. So first of all, I always hope that the fixture schedule is positive for all supporters, because it's a supporters game, and you have to keep in mind that you give them also the opportunity in terms of traveling times, and they make it for the game. So if you're just thinking about whatever TV and not about the supporters who attend to the stadium, one day we will also lose the love of our fan base. I think this is quite important topic. So that's my first worry, and the second is then, of course, to have a fixture list that it's more or less right in terms of fair play, and also in the sense of the game. When we speak about this turnaround right now, sometimes you're struggling a bit to understand why the fixture list is how there is, because also when I have a look on this week, it's difficult really to understand why you have to play on Wednesday evening a late kickoff away game, and why is it then necessary to choose the quickest possible turnaround to play then Saturday lunchtime when the players are just back at home in the early Thursday morning. So I think in terms of fair play, it's not great, because we face a side who had more or less 1 week to prepare for this fixture. So it's hard to understand why we don't go for whatever later kickoff, or perhaps a Sunday kickoff, whatever, and also then why the next game is then also scheduled then on the Tuesday. So Wednesday would be also possible, especially keeping in mind that the next game is then just on Monday. So sometimes it's difficult to understand in terms of fair play. Also, like when you judge it just with common sense anyhow. Because all the supporters want the best players always on the pitch, and the best players also like recovered, because they want to see a proper product and want to see proper football quality. But of course, if you're just back at home in the early hours of Thursday morning, haven't more or less not slept, and then on Saturday you have to have more changes, and of course you have to rotate more than it's healthy for a group. We have also seen this in other fixtures, for example in the Cup, and will be also the same when you have a similar decisions for the league game. So sometimes it feels like in terms of fair play, it's not great, and also in terms of the sense of the game, because supporters want to see the best players always in the best possible shape and also fully recharged in order to see proper football. Sometimes it makes no sense. So sometimes the fixture list does you also a favor. The feeling is, since I work for this club, it was more or less the other way around. Why ever? I'm struggling a bit to moan about it there, because it's quite often also like the broadcasters who choose the fixture list. It's also good that many people want to see Leeds United also live on telly, and it's a club that is pretty much in the spotlight, and that's great anyhow. And I'm also struggling to complain about it, because we all also get the profits from TV money and broadcasters. So for that, I'm also struggling to complain a bit about it, because also the players and everyone who is connected in football also get the rewards in terms of whatever salary or the money that is available. So, and this is also by the broadcasters. So for that, I'm struggling to complain about it. But sometimes you find it really difficult also like to understand why a fixture list is chosen exactly in this way. But yeah, I also give up hope that we can do the fixture list more or less with common sense anyhow. So it is sometimes like it is, and we have to adapt it and try to find some solutions in order to make sure that we do it in a smart way and have the best possible outcome. So to moan about it and to claim that it's unfair, it doesn't help you. So for that, it's the best way is probably not to speak too much about it, and of course, and to address the topics sometimes behind the scenes, also to the key people who make the decision. But sadly, I'm not involved in the fixture list, and I try to find some solutions and that we adapt in the best possible way.
Daniel, it sounds like Isaac caught your eye on Saturday, pleasingly. He's obviously had a few weeks where your squad's been in such a good place and so fit that he's been left out. And I know you've always said that if a player is outside of your squad, there's no room for moping about. It's a case of working harder on the training pitch and trying to catch your eye. As a manager, though, are you still conscious of the impact of a player training all week with his teammates, then being left at home for a game? And how do you manage a player through that?
Well, it's always tricky in terms of man management because every player wants to be involved and wants to play each and every moment. And it's one of the toughest jobs when you have to disappoint a player, especially also once you have a really great character like Isaac and he's doing well in training. He had also a period when it was a bit more difficult due to several minor injuries and in the beginning he had to adapt a bit to the intensity of championship football, but meanwhile he found his feet and just delivering also in training. And if you still have to leave him sometimes out, it also hurts yourself a little bit because you're also a human being and you know also how much he invests to it. But it's professional football and it's competitive, and sometimes you also have to disappoint a player. But then it's important also like to give him also still the feeling that it's not a decision against him. It's more like a decision for a different player who is there on your position anyhow. And for that, get on with it and work hard and prepare for the moment when you get the next chance and then use it. And this is also what Isaac is doing at the moment, obviously. Yeah, on his position, we had lots of competition. Jayden Bogle has played there. Arguably, probably the standout performer on this position in the league. Sam Byram has played on the left, but also sometimes on the right side, unbeaten in all his starting lineup appearances, and it's also a tough competition for him. So, especially on the fullback position, we can't always travel with 4 or 5 fullbacks. So for that, it's tough. But I'm happy that we have Isaac, and all players are important. So it's just with 10 or 11 players. You can't be successful. And it's also important that Jayden knows and Sam knows and Junior knows, no, they can't afford to give 2% less because they are competitors on their level. So when Jayden plays well or Junior plays well or Sam plays well, then it's also credit to Isaac because he holds the pressure high in training. And this is how professional football works. For that, it never works. You have a top number 1 choice on your position. And sorry, with all respect, but then a competitor in this position doesn't have the level anyhow, so it's never healthy. So you need competition, and Isaac is one of the players who makes sure that no one can drop his level because he also offers a lot, and I'm quite happy with his development.
When you speak to Patrick, how is he doing in terms of this latest setback, and do you still see that determination in him to have an impact in this season? Because we know how hard it's been for him, and obviously we're now running out of games almost.
Yes, of course, it's for all the players difficult because they're all human beings and no robots, and it's not like the feeling like, okay, I'm injured, I'm not involved, I don't have to travel. It's a bit easier. No, it's the other way around. So the re-up day is longer than the normal day. So they arrive earlier, they leave later on the training ground. Should be also a bit like this, but it means also lots of stuff and also boring stuff. Patrick, like we all as kids, we grow up in order we want to play football and not like to strengthen the muscles on the machines or just to do some core work in the gym. You want to be out and want to play with your mates, and if you're not allowed, not capable do this because you're injured, it always hurts, and it's difficult. And of course, then it's important also to have sometimes a communication and a little chat about, okay, how is it going, and how is the mood? Everything's okay, but also once a player in the spirit, sometimes you also need to leave him a little bit alone, because it could be also annoying if you ask each and every day and put extra pressure on him. So Patrick is an experienced guy, and he knows exactly what he has to do in order to do in a professional way his work. And our medical department, together with our coaches, also Ruben, our rehab coach, they're doing a really good job in order to